every single person in America with the same pre-tax options that union members have today. We believe every individual in this country should be able to buy their health care on a pre-tax basis. That will not happen in this bill. Now, let's talk about just the subject that you've talked about, and that is the ability to buy in a competitive marketplace across state lines. I'm interested, just like when I buy my life insurance. My life insurance may be from somewhere that's outside the state of Texas where I live, but there are affiliates or people who are in those states who can administer those plans. Health care is an idea that can be taken care of. You don't have to have a physical agent there because in the free enterprise system, it's you and your doctor. And then filling out the paperwork. This is a matter of paperwork. The reason why it is so expensive in Massachusetts is that they are taxing people's health care to pay for those that do not have it. And so if we will go to a plan, instead of picking on or trying to take care of 15, 20, 30 million Americans, they're trying to take 260 or 270 million Americans and tax their health care to pay for the 30. We need to reverse the circumstance. And that's where the ability, once again, buy across state lines, for a product that best fits your needs. If we want people who are in college to be able to have insurance, then let's give them a robust marketplace. What's interesting is that under this plan, people who are younger will be paying 4 or 5 times the national average for the cost of health care because the government says how much they'll have to pay. That's non-marketplace oriented, and that means that that's a problem because we're going to be overpaying for our health care.
You asked for a follow-up. Can you make it quick?
Yes,
please?
I did. Thank you for real quick. Thanks for the response. I'll leave it to the listener to take to why they think the health insurance companies want what you're describing. I wanted to quickly address tort reform, and I want to point out to the listeners that this is unique for Republicans to be arguing for the one instance here where government, they're telling you this is where the average Joe can't do this properly. The average Joe can't be on a jury and decide punitive. You need the government to come in and tell you what maximum punitive damages are. You need the government to do this for you because the average Joe can't do it. And I'm just pointing out where it has been done in Texas, and you pointed some other places. You can point to where, yes, less payouts have come because of those laws. Go and check and see whether or not the health insurance costs to the consumer, if the rates they're paying have come down since those laws were enacted, and the answer to that, and people can go on the web and look, is no.
Okay, John, let me leave it there.
Good. Well, let's talk about what John has very clearly described, and that is the advantages of tort reform. The advantages of tort reform in Texas is that we have now a massive infusion of doctors who've come to Texas from all across the country. And these doctors are mostly high risk, meaning obstetrics and gynecology, and then those surgeries that would take place that are from critical care. Those people who may have been in a car wreck and are care flighted in. These were patients who found that doctors really did not want to handle high-risk cases. In Texas, because we found a balance, we now have thousands of doctors who are applying, not only come to Texas, but we have seen health care and access increase greatly in the state of Texas. There's a balance. It's not about money. It is about a quality health care. And I think Texas would say we've done a lot better.
We have about 5 minutes left with Mr. Sessions. He has been in the House of Representatives since 1998. And as we said earlier, he's a member of the Rules Committee, which is an important next step in this process. Chattanooga, Tennessee is on the air, and this is Mike. Thanks for being on the line. Mike, Republican line.
Thanks for C-SPAN. Thanks for taking my call. My concern is what this bill will do to small businesses, you know, in lieu that two-thirds of jobs come from small businesses. I have a small business myself. I'm the only employee. I sell and install a door chime, and it's essentially an annunciator to let people know when they're coming in their office or their business. And I travel all over the Southeast, and I have seen massive amounts of small businesses going out of business. And to change it a little bit, my younger brother has an engineering firm, and he has probably 30 or 40 engineers that work for him. And last year, he paid $4 million in health care benefits for his employees. Now, I've heard that there's going to be a tax on that amount of something like 40%. Is that true? And, you know, my concern is he cannot afford, you know, that would be $1.6 million in taxes that he would have to pay on that. And my concern is not only for him, but what it'll do to other small businesses and how it'll affect them and our current unemployment of 10%. You know, we need to get that down, and I don't see that happening with this bill.
Thanks, Mike.
It is true that there will be a massive job loss that will primarily be in the small business area, and small business is the background and the engine of driver of our economy. I would say to the gentleman that this plan that is before us, and we don't know exactly, but have been told that taxes will start at 8%. You then heard the president say, and not one dime will come from deficit spending, which means that they are going to have to add a good amount of taxation to it. I've not heard 40%. I have heard 8% and going higher. I think what's clear from this is that the free enterprise system continues to be the focal point of an attack by not only this Obama administration, but also by Nancy Pelosi. The three largest political items that are being handled by this House net lose 10 million American jobs. And when your three largest political agenda items net lose 10 million American jobs, that should tell you that we have a problem in Washington, D.C.
And the other two you're referring to besides health care are?
They would be card check and they would be cap and trade, and those are the administration's figures.
New Haven, Connecticut, last caller for Congressman Pete Sessions. This is Anthony.
Oh, thank you, Susan. I'm glad I'm the last caller. Mr. Sessions, I was a Republican, but you have to stop spinning. Now, you just said earlier that you have a bill from Mr. Ryan, and the C bill won't score because the chairman of the Democratic Party or the chairman of each committee don't have the time. Mr. Sessions, please, if you got a bill, score it. You got a minority leader. You got ranking members to bring it to the CBO. Stop spinning the American people. You know, I can see you say no against the Democratic bill. You know, some things I don't like it, but at least they have a bill. Bring your bill out and score it, and let the American people know what's in it, just like you wanted the Democrats to know what's in their bill. And you can't just keep saying that the Democratic chairman or the Democratic
Anthony, I'm going to jump in because we're out of time. We understand what you're saying here. Thanks.
Well, I do appreciate what the gentleman's saying. In these bills, there are massive taxation. In a Republican bill, there are no taxes. It is paid for because we find a way within the bill to make it work without taxing people. So the scoring would be no problem for the Republican bill. It is going to cost a little bit of money because it shifts, but we do not tax the American people nor small business in order to accomplish that. We use the system to pay for itself up to and including the $150 billion that comes from tort reform.
And where can he read it if he's interested?
Well, if he can read it, he can first of all go to Paul Ryan's website. You can go to GOP.gov. GOP.gov has all the bills just like this does. I don't need to know the cost of this. I can read it and see where it's a massive tax bill. I don't need to know the cost of Paul Ryan's bill. I can go and read it. What is important is that if we're going to be able to consider this bill that's in front of us, the American people need to see it, know it, and have a chance to read it. For 72 hours, we believe that's fair for a massive bill.
Thank you very much for being here.
Enjoyed this.
We will continue our health care discussion. We have one more session on this with Congressman Bart Stupak of Michigan, and we'll be right back after a news update from C-SPAN Radio.